Let's say I'm at a white school. I said, how many of you kids want to play pro sports? Less than 10% raised their hand. I said, what do you want to do? I want to be a doctor. I want to be a lawyer. I want to be an engineer. But when I go speak at predominantly black schools, 90% of the kids want to play sports. 90%. There's a couple like, I want to be a doctor, which makes me really proud. But 90% of kids, when I speak at black schools, our kids are brainwashed to think they can only play sports and be entertainers. You got a better chance of being a doctor and a lawyer than playing in the NBA. I tell you, that's 400 players in the NBA. What are the chances you're going to be one of the 400 best players in the world? Like I say, and I'm not trying to bash their dreams. I wish everybody could do it. But you have to also be realistic.
I believe that we have to step back and we have to ask ourselves, are we conscious of the fact that the sports industry operates just like a slave plantation? That no matter how much cotton you pick for the slave master, you're only going to be entitled to reap the benefits of a small portion. Are you sure you want your child's life's work dependent upon a fraction of what they're actually earning for that entertainment industry? Still further, most of our children will be going professional in something other than sports. Why are you not making sure they donate as much time to whatever that other potential profession can be than sports? In other words, you don't have to take away his dream. He liked basketball, let him stay with it. He liked football, let him stay with it. She likes basketball, tennis, let her stay with it. But she should be donating as much time to being an engineer, as much time to being a dentist, as much time to being an educator. My issue with the athletic parents in the black community, the parents of black athletic children, I see very little emphasis on making sure you're investing in your alternative career if the sports dream falls through. I don't see any emphasis on it. It's almost as if they raise their children with a guarantee that you're going Division I with a full scholarship. And most of them are not. And when they don't make it, there's no plan B. When I speak in the prisons, right? I speak in prisons a lot. Two questions I always ask. How many of you were in special ed? And this don't even matter what race it is. Even if it's white ones in there, most of the hands go up. 99% of every prison I spoke in, 99% of the inmates were special ed students. And then I say, how many of you were star athletes who never looked at doing anything else with your life because you were so personally self-assured that you would make it as an athlete? About 60% of the hands go up. There is a direct relationship between black parents raising their children to be athletes and entertainers and future incarceration. Because not only do they put all their eggs in one basket, they develop a narcissistic complex about their talent level too that is out of touch with the reality. So it's not just I want to be a football player. I literally think I'm one of the greatest of all time at 16. And my mother and father, because of their narcissism as the parent of a student athlete, they feed my narcissism. And when I don't make it, my whole world is torn apart.
And I want to touch on a couple of things you touched on. The first part in regards to the student athlete, I don't know if the parents gave up on life, but they're really trying to get a free ticket from this child financially.
Some of
them. Because if you hear the conversation in regards to even this whole idea of buying my mother a house or, you know, I want to get this when you reach a certain thing is kind of tricky. The child now, for a lot of brothers, their self-worth and the only attention they get from their community and their parents is through the sports, not through academics.
I've seen that.
So that kind of plays a role why they kind of go there, right?
I believe we set our children up for failure by letting them entertain this belief that you're going to be a multi-million-dollar athlete, and to let them have that belief so early in life that it drives every waking moment of their existence. And I believe it's gotten to a point where it could be called a psychopathology in our community. The pursuit of sports success among student-age American Africans, in my opinion, is a form of psychopathology. There is no balance. There's no reasonableness to it. There is no type of psychological insurance put in place by the parents or the community or these coaches, half of whom I don't feel should even be coaching, with the way in which they manage children, because for a lot of them, I've seen them destroy self-esteem. I've seen coaches destroy self-esteem. This is about wins and losses. It is not about character. It's not about team building. It's not about working together. It's about what you can do for me. And if you can't, I'll drop you. Not to evoke Deion Sanders, but I saw a little clip from one of the students who just entered the portal leaving Colorado. You know, and he said something to the effect that he was never a person. I'm paraphrasing, but he said he never got to know me. I was not a person. You know, I was just somebody who was here to help him look good or do better or something to that effect. Whether the charges are true or not, I don't know. But that speaks to that narcissistic sports personality where I don't see them as children. I'm not here to develop men. I'm here to develop athletes who can help me win. And when you're talking about black boys coming from broken homes with no dad, with a black coach, self-esteem already hindered, and you don't invest in him as a man, you destroy that child twice over. Because this year, I think I've seen more parents attack referees at games than I've seen any time before in my life. Now, most of the ones I've seen were white parents attacking referees. But the point that I'm bringing up is America is a culture that is extremely competitive.
Right.
In fact, from a psychological perspective, and I'm probably evoking Queen Mother Ancestor Dr. Frances Cress Welsing when I bring this up, European culture is so competitive. In European culture, part of being healthy is the ability to dominate another force. Whether you're dominating in business, whether you're dominating on a golf court, whether you're dominating in religion by having the biggest congregation, there is a need to be a victor over someone in European culture as a pre-context of being a healthy individual. I think we've swallowed that whole to the point where I always have to be at odds with somebody to prove my worth. I have to win. Someone has to lose and someone has to win. That is a foundational aspect of European culture. And I think black people have swallowed it whole to the point where we don't feel happy and successful if we're not being victorious over another person. European culture is competitive. African culture is collaborative. I am because we are. We all win or none of us win. That's African culture. But we have gotten so far away from that I don't even know if we're even interested in practicing the principle of Ubuntu anymore.
There's nothing more selfish than a black father to impose his athletic dreams on his son's ego. If that boy don't want to be a football player, there's nothing wrong with that. If he don't want to be a basketball player, there's nothing wrong with that. You had your life. Let your son live his. Because after all, the only people benefiting from black men going to the NFL are poor white women. They become the wives and they take all the money. So how is it that there will be no NFL or NBA? Because we're not benefiting from the NFL or NBA. Not only that, only 1% of all only 1% of all high school athletes will become professional. Only 1%. Your son has a greater chance of being struck by lightning than becoming a millionaire through professional sports. I'm not saying kill his dream. Don't take his dream, but make sure he got a plan B if plan A doesn't bother him. See, the problem with us is we let Raheem think he's absolutely going to make it no matter what. Problem with us, we let no Mike think he's going to absolutely make it no matter what. And then the sports coaches and the principal and the dean of students and the classroom teacher, they all collaborate in Raheem's low expectations. He don't have the grades to graduate, but we're going to keep him on the football field anyway. He ain't got the grades to graduate, but we're going to keep him on the basketball court anyway. And once we're done sucking all his athletic talent, we send him right to the local jail. Black men, there's no excuse to be dating outside your race.
None. None.